Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we're here with my blind reaction to Big. So this is a donation reward for Sweet Venom, and all I know about this movie is that it is a comedy starring Tom Hanks. Yeah, I don't know anything else about this. I don't know what exactly the story is. Like, I might have seen a couple clips randomly here and there throughout the years. Probably have. This movie came out in like '88, so it's a lot older. So I've probably seen clips randomly and just didn't know it was from this movie. That's very probable. Um, but yeah, it's supposed to be a fun movie, supposed to be a really nice movie, and honestly, I'm just at a point today, day of recording this, where that's kind of what I need right now. I just need something nicer and softer and something that's not going to just upset me. And so this sounded like a good idea. Um, so this is what we're getting to. Yeah, I don't know exactly what to expect, but hey, that's always a good thing. So we're going to get to this right away. Why waste any time? Plus, I don't have anything else to say because I don't know anything. Oh, but we are doing this off of YouTube because this is actually free on YouTube. It's free with ads, but I use AdBlock. Haha. So I don't have to worry about that. So it's just free. And it's like, sure, free, gonna be probably in pretty good quality. Don't have to deal with finding it elsewhere. It's like I can dig that. But yeah, so let's give it a shot, see what we have in store. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So there are two issues I have with this movie. One is the obvious creepy implications. And it's like, it doesn't go as far as I've seen other things go. There's definitely worse out there, but the implications are still very creepy, and it's very much implied that they had sex. And that's really, it's not okay. And like, I get the point of it. The point it was trying to show with that, and with the day after when he like got the coffee from his assistant and everything. It's like, I get that the idea is that he is becoming too attached to being an adult. He's losing sense of himself. I get that, but you could have shown that in so many other ways than him having sex with this adult woman, who in reality is like at least probably twice his age. And it's like, yes, at the end she respected the boundary with that, and that's great, but it's like, it's still uncomfortable to a degree. It very much is, and especially with the entire joke about, oh, maybe in 10 years we'll see, maybe you should hold on to my number. It's like, don't say that. Even if it's meant as a joke, just don't go there. That just comes across as grooming now, and it's creepy. I know it was meant as a joke, I understand, I get it, but it's like, there's some things you just shouldn't joke about. And again, I know this was '88, but still. Like, even with, like, Back to the Future, when he goes into the past and, like, his mom is, like, coming on to him and everything, it's like, she's, at that point in time, a teenager. It's not that she was aged up and is in reality a kid, and it's not like this at all. It's a very different situation. Like, that was an actual teenage version of her. And she didn't know, obviously, that the person she was flirting with was her future son. It's not really as creepy. It's still uncomfortable, and it's meant to be, and it showcases that it is. But it's like it's not as creepy as this, or a lot of worse things have been. Um, it's just off, to put it simply. Again, there's better ways they could have handled showcasing that he was getting lost in becoming an adult and everything. The coffee was a great way to do it. Like, I'm sure there's kids out there who drink coffee, but not a lot. It's not a kid's drink, typically, just for the caffeine content alone. But stuff like that, or show him getting more serious and less childlike, that would work too. And I mean, he kind of did, but not to like the degree that I was thinking necessarily. But he kind of was still. Um, but yeah, it's like that would have worked just so much better instead of just kind of making it a little creepy and weird. The second issue I had with this kind of encompasses a couple things. Um, and that's and this is going to sound weird, but I think it focused too much on the main character. And what I mean is, I kind of talked about this briefly in the reaction itself. It almost never went back to the mom. Like, we went back to her, I think, twice. After the scene where, like, she's freaked out by him and everything, I think we see her twice after that. Even at the end, where they reunite, we don't get to see that. Instead, we just hear it, and it cuts to him and his friend hanging out again. It's like, I'm actually kind of upset by that. I think it would have been better if it showed him and his mom reuniting. Think something like Amphibia, like I mentioned in the reaction. You know, when Anne reunites with her parents, something, a big tearful reunion like that. Think something like that. And then it goes to the credits from there. The stuff with the friend at the end was not needed. It really wasn't. It just felt like a little add-on thing to show that, okay, he's a kid again. But I think it already got that point across pretty well. And again, him reuniting with his mother, I think would have been, and showcasing it, like actually showing it, not just letting us hear it happen. Showing it would have been so much more impactful. It would have been a much more powerful emotional ending. But those are really the only things I have. The second one also kind of goes into play with some of the other stuff that's just not really given a proper conclusion or explanation. Like the Zoltar thing, never explained, but I didn't expect it to be. But also, what now with the company? This company was flourishing with him there. Like, you could say, okay, maybe he could go work there once he does actually become an adult. But aren't they going to be confused by him having the same name and everything? And what if the company doesn't flourish anymore and ends up going out of business before he could even do that? It just feels weird, you know? It feels weird to not have any closure on that at all. Because it was honestly the main focus of the movie. More than anything else, this was about him not just becoming an adult due to this Zoltar machine, but also it's about his time as an adult working at this company. Getting to know the other employees, having various levels of interaction with them, depending on which ones they are. It's like there's no feeling of conclusiveness to it. it might seem like a minor issue, and to a degree it is. But I just wish, like, something had been said. Or at least showcase, like, the boss realizing those two had been gone for too long, and, like, getting confused by it, and, like, one and like maybe, like, wistfully, like, looking out of the room and, like, wondering where they went, like, with his hands on his hips or something. Something like that. Just something that would at least show, like, some kind of conclusiveness to this, instead of just them running out of the meeting room and nothing else happening after that with it. I feel like maybe in that way this movie would have benefited from an extra 10 minutes. I think that would have been enough to get all of that down, to give a proper send off to this company, to showcase the mother and him reuniting at the end. It's like, that's. These are my only issues, though. I wanted to go over them first to just get them out of the way. And I will say, overall, they don't destroy the movie for me. They don't really hurt it that bad. It's just it's minor gripes. The the child and adult issue is definitely the worst one in the end, and is really uncomfortable. But they acknowledge it basically and say that it's. They basically say that it's wrong without actively saying it. Basically, the entire show don't tell thing. It's like, I get it, and again, old days. It's not. They're not. This is not the only movie that's done shit like that. So I just have to acknowledge it's a part of the past. We've luckily moved on from shit like that. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you still have shitbags like Matt Walsh out there thinking it's okay to get with 16-year-old girls because they're quote unquote most fertile. Jesus. Hated even saying that, even just as an example. I don't want to talk about that. Let's move on. I'm gonna make myself throw up if I talk about that. Uh, Other than the issues, though, this movie was it was really good. It was enjoyable. It was fun. Seeing Tom Hanks just goof around and act like a kid is like really entertaining. And you could say there's kind of a couple different lessons here that all kind of center around the same basic kind of thing. The big one is that you shouldn't try to grow up too fast. And this is a lesson that can be told to kids or even people who are already adults. That trying to grow up too fast and be too adult while forgetting your childlike wonder and innocence and love for life, it's going to ruin you. It's going to turn you into a cynical asshole and just hurt your relationships and your happiness. We literally see that it had happened to this woman. Like, her life was kind of in shambles, let's be honest. And it was that childlike wonder and joy that Josh was able to bring back into her life that helped her. But we also see someone who could not get that help with John Hurd's character. He just remained an asshole to the end. He never got redeemed or anything. He never even really got any punishment for anything. He was just an asshole. And in the end, it's just he was not able to find that wonder again. But then you see other adults who were reminded of that. Like the boss. The scene with him and the boss playing on the giant piano and everything was absolutely lovely. It was so lovely. It was so cute. It's like just two dudes hanging out, playing on a piano, and just goofing around together, having fun. See, it's always been a theme and a message in various things that I've always loved, because it's something I stand by very firmly. the idea of like growing up too fast and trying to be an adult in order to fit in to the world, and it's just overall vibe, I guess. I don't know how to word it. It's a toxic mentality, honestly. Do you know how many people I've heard say that they wish they could be a kid again? It's super common, like extremely common to hear adults say that. Because the society we live in, especially here in America, but probably in plenty of other countries and places too, the culture we live in tells us that that is the goal, to grow up and take on all this responsibility. But when we do, we end up just miserable. It doesn't end up being this fairy tale that we're kind of lied to and told it will be. Instead, it ends up being a living hell. And depending on where you live, it can be even worse because of circumstances and situations with the area and with the laws of the state or country or whatnot. Growing up and becoming an adult can actually like kill people in a lot of ways for a lot of reasons. Whether through committing suicide because they can't handle it, or even like being in dangerous areas but not really having a choice because they have to be an adult, and in their case it means that all they can get is being in this dangerous area that could, cause them to be shot or stabbed or who knows what else. And there's this lack of childlike wonder. There's this lack of just having fun that is prevalent in adult culture. I guess you could call it. Adult culture sounds weird, but I guess that's what you could call it. Um, it's kind of an idea that when you're an adult, you should leave behind a lot of this childish stuff. Things like stuffed animals and toys, video games, comic books, things like that. And it's like, it's something I've never agreed to, something I've never adhered to, and it's just an ideology that I actively hate. Like, it actively makes me so fucking sad and angry at the same time. Because it's like, it's saying that to be an adult, you have to be miserable. You have to forego things that make you happy, that bring you joy, that bring you fulfillment. Because they're meant for kids, quote unquote. And that's extremely toxic. It's like, who says adults can't be into this stuff? Who says adults can't enjoy cartoons or read comics or play video games? Why? Why is that a thing? There's no logic to that argument. There's no logic to the idea that adults can't be into that. It's not childish. It's not immature, rather. Childish is the wrong word for sure to use here. It's not immature of an adult to enjoy a cartoon. Especially when a lot of cartoons these days have extremely mature themes to them. It's not immature to play video games. It's a valid form of entertainment to spend your time on. It's not immature to collect and cuddle with plushies and stuff. In a lot of cases, it can be the one thing keeping you from depression and just a lot of terrible thoughts that could otherwise be going through your head. It's messed up how society has that idea that adults have to leave behind these quote unquote childish things for no real reason, just because society deems this stuff as for kids only, which is just, it's just annoying. It's so annoying. And so I really like when a movie or a show such as this one really puts the focus on that. Seeing these two grown men, even though one is technically a 13-year-old kid, but seeing him as a grown man with Tom Hanks playing him and all, dancing and all on the piano, having fun, playing this music, gathering a crowd who cheer them on and applaud them afterwards. It's like, it's not just adorable and all because it's like they're having a blast doing it. It's adorable because it's like, it's because you're seeing two adult men doing this. Even if one is actually a kid, he looks like an adult man. It's Tom Hanks. So it's like you're seeing adults do this, and they're having fun, and you can tell the actors were having an absolute blast. They were living, thriving, just being their best them. And this is what I want to see more of, honestly. Just the acceptance that adults can be into this stuff. Like, put out more shows where the parents are playing video games. Not necessarily even with their kids, just because they want to play video games. And I'm not talking like very young parents with just like a baby or two. I'm talking like parents with like 16-year-old kids. Parents whose kids are about to graduate from high school. The kid comes home from school and their parent is just sitting there playing games. That's what I want to see. Show adults who have plushes in their room, who goof around and play with squirt guns and stuff. That's what I want to see more of. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get too much more of that. Because society still tells us that that's immature. And so many people buy into that, that if a show tried to do that, people would complain. And it's fucked up that that would happen, but it would. And then it'd probably either be canceled or it would lose viewership, and then other studios would be against doing it anymore. But on top of that, on top of the message about just not growing up too fast, there's also a message about valuing what you have. Because that's how this all started, too. Remember that. This kid was trying to have so much more than he needed. He was trying to be bigger because he wanted to get this girl, because he was too short to ride that ride. And he couldn't play his game because his mother interrupted him, telling him to take out the trash. He wanted to be able to be big so he didn't have to worry about that. And he just moved on, and when he became big, started to lose track of who he was because of it, because of those feelings. He started to become a different person. He got his wish because he wasn't satisfied with who he had been before. When you see him like telling his friend that this work stuff is really important. He needs to get this done. He has a deadline and everything. It's like, you don't see that kid in there anymore. And it's really sad. And that's the point. And it luckily doesn't last too long, but still. But yeah. So I really feel like there were a couple drawbacks to this film. I really do wish they showed more of like the mother grieving and just panicked and everything. Because like that the scene with her and the friend talking to each other through the windows and all was extremely powerful. One of the best scenes in the movie, without question. In fact, I'd put it right there, like right up there with the piano scene, as the two best scenes in the movie. And the thing is, I just wish there was more of that in here. It doesn't have to be constant, but just like something. Like a good portion of this movie just did not feature the mom at all, and just it's like you almost kind of forget that she's probably panicked out of her mind, losing her shit over the fact that her son is missing and presumably kidnapped from her point of view. So it's like, yeah, I just feel they should have shown more of that. And it definitely shown the ending bit when they reunited. It's like that could have been an even stronger emotional connection to the film. And would have done a lot for it. I also did not expect the F-bomb to be dropped in here. The scene it was dropped in made sense for it to be dropped in and everything, but it took me so off guard when it happened. It's like I didn't even really know how to react to it at first. It's like, oh, well, that was a thing that just happened. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say that I still think this was really good. Had a fun time. It was enjoyable to watch. Tom Hanks was an absolute joy, as pretty much always. He's just a great actor, and again, he's kind of cute in this. Like all things considered, like he does not look 30 here. He does not look 30. He looks like he's in his early 20s. He just looks really cute. But yeah. I think that it was a good, enjoyable movie. I liked the acting. I liked a lot of the conflict and stuff. I liked him getting this job somehow, despite, the Social Security being made up and not even complete when he gives it in. And, his boss never actually looking into his records or anything, because everything is just excessively made up. But no, they don't actually look into anything. They don't, vet their employees at all. I mean, it allowed us to have the movie, because if they did vet their employees, obviously that would have gone nowhere, but still. It's just, I had fun. I had fun with this movie. It's not the best movie I've seen recently or at all. Not the best movie that we've reacted to in recent memory. It's good though. It genuinely is good. And hey, maybe I'll end up watching it more times. Maybe if I can find some reactions to it on YouTube, and maybe I'll see stuff I didn't see this time. It's very possible. But in the meantime, tell me what you thought of Big in the comments below. Tell me your thoughts, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.